Hey, this is Cathy Heller. I am popping into your feed to invite you to a 5-day free songwriting challenge that I am doing. And every single day of that challenge, I will be showing up live in a private Facebook group just for the challengers. And I'll be teaching you everything I know about music licensing and how I personally was able to license my music and make multi-six figures a year. I know that sounds crazy, and I know that there's so many people on the internet that it's hard to know, like, who do you believe, who's telling the truth. You can happily Google me, and you can look up articles that were written about me in Billboard and Variety and the LA Weekly, where you can see real facts about what I was doing and how much money I was making. And I want to tell you really quickly that you are not alone, that I get it. I was feeling super depressed about 12 years ago because I came out to LA with this dream of getting a record deal, and I actually got a record deal at Interscope, and I was so excited, only to realize that 3 months later they were going to drop me from the label. And I went and got a day job, and I was miserable, and I was like, oh, I guess that this is where my parents told me that this would happen. I'd have to grow up and get a real job and, be practical and all that stuff. And I just wasn't loving life. And someone had told me that the opposite of depression is not happiness, it's a sense of purpose. And I was like, you're so right. And I wanted to live life on my own terms. I wanted to feel like every day I looked in the mirror and I was like, this is me. And I didn't recognize myself. And I thought, I got to figure out how to get back into music. And I read a Billboard magazine issue that week, and it was all talking all about music licensing. And I was like, music licensing, what's that? And they were talking about how, like, you could license a song to a commercial or a TV show or a trailer. And I thought, well, this is worth looking into. And so it didn't happen overnight. I started to look into it. I started to figure out what kinds of songs that different music supervisors were looking for. And I started looking into what that would mean and how I would get those songs produced and how creatively I'd be able to crack myself open so that I could find that perfect blend of being authentic and yet telling a story that was a story that would work to tell this bigger story for this picture, whether it was a TV show, an ad, a movie, a trailer. And I started working through that process. And sure enough, about 18 months, 20 months into that process, it started to happen. And I got my first license, and then I got a second one. And then I started helping other artists, just organically. Other artists would see articles about me in the LA Weekly and send me an email, can you help me with that? And so at first I was just helping artists. Then I started an agency called Catch the Moon Music, where I started pitching other artists. And I remember it was the coolest thing. The first placement I got for someone was a trailer for ABC. And then the second placement was a T-Mobile spot, and we got the artist like $48,000. And I was like, wow, now not only have I been able to do this for myself, but I'm doing this for other people. And so I started to build that roster and help more people through my agency. And then I was on the CD Baby podcast with Kevin Bruner, who's interviewing me. It was so much fun. And hundreds of thousands of people heard that episode. And there was a girl who reached out to me who went to Berkeley undergrad, who didn't live in LA. And she said, I just heard you on this podcast, and I'd love to meet with you and learn more from you, but you're not near me. Could you create some kind of an online course where you taught artists how to really understand music licensing and how to figure out what they need to know and who they need to know and how to do what you've done? And I said, no, I'm not going to do an online course. That sounded like Japanese. I didn't know what she was talking about. And it sat in the back of my mind. And then a few more people reached out from that podcast. And I thought, maybe I should try to do this. Sometimes, like, the world knocks at the door and you realize, why am I saying no? And so anyway, I started a program about 3.5 years ago called Six Figure Songwriting. And lo and behold, we started teaching the class, and artists from the class who had never had a placement, one of them got a Starbucks placement, and one of them got a song in a Coors Light placement, and somebody got a song in a Lexus ad, and somebody else got a song on a couple different TV shows. And I thought, this is crazy, this is working. So about 2 years ago, I started doing these like free songwriting challenges where for 5 days, it used to be 8 days. Now we realize 5 is like the magic sauce that gets everybody sort of pumped up and inspired, and it's plenty of time. I started doing these free songwriting challenges because we'd get all these emails from songwriters who who were not working with us in our agency and were not in our course learning from us. And they'd send us music and they'd say, how come this isn't working? How come I can't get this song placed? What do I need to change? And I thought, wow, a lot of artists need to know more about what music supervisors are actually looking for and how to really like shortcut the process so that you can get the best results, and how to get out of your own way, and what things might inspire you to get really cracked open into that really creative space where you can really start to turn what you love into a business. And I've learned that the difference between a hobby and a business is that a business involves a lot of empathy, because if it's a hobby, you're doing your thing and there might be empathy in there for your pain, for other people's joy. But when you have a business, it means that you've figured out a way to do what you love and figure out how somebody else might also relate to it, and to solve a problem for someone else with what it is that you're creating, that your art could be something that actually someone else wants to pay you for. And a friend of mine wrote a book called Real Artists Don't Starve. And it's all about, like, I don't know where people started thinking that artists don't make money, that's like a rule of thumb. Some artists absolutely make a living. Michelangelo was making millions of dollars back in the day, and he was actually commissioned to paint the Sistine Chapel, right? Like, I just feel that for so many artists, they are sitting right now at day jobs and desk jobs feeling uninspired, which is why I then went on to start a podcast. That's a whole nother thing I do. It's called Don't Keep Your Day Job. And we started 2 years ago. We now have about 8 million downloads, and it's so fun. I get to talk to creatives who are making a living doing what they love, because this conversation really inspires me. I want to see people feeling more in alignment, happier, doing what they love, making a living doing what they love, because it's absolutely possible that you can find a way to find that intersection of what you love, that you're good at, that the world also says, yes, I want to pay you for that. And I want to help people figure out how to turn this music passion and music hobby into a music business. So if you want to join me, you can click here and sign up to be with me. It's completely free. It's 5 days of me showing up an hour every day for this 5-day challenge. I'll teach you everything I know about music licensing and some pretty inspirational and helpful tools and strategies. And there's no commitment. You don't have to join a program or be signed to us. You can just take the 5-day challenge. And we've had such great reviews, people who take it in the past and said, God, that 5 days, I learned so much. And if you can't be with us live, don't worry, because if you sign up, we will send you the replay every day. So you can still learn all the stuff, whether you can be with us live or whether you just sign up, we'll send you the replay so you can watch it on your own time. But I look forward to helping you feel like maybe there's a break in the clouds, and this thing that you've always loved to do since you're 6 or 8 or 12, like maybe there is a way for you to do more of it. I really believe that there is. And I believe that you've been through so much in your life and you have something to say, which is why you want to be an artist. And I think that there are so many myths that we can dispel around what it means to write music for licensing, and how some of those songs are the most beautiful songs I know. I love Ingrid Michaelson's song, Turn to Stone, and that song has been licensed so many times. I love Katie Hertzig's song, Lost and Found. That song has been licensed so many times. I love so many artists like Matt and Kim and Leaky Lee, and there's just so many great artists who write great work that also really works for cinema, for ads, for storytelling. And I want to show you sort of how I got to where I am. And I think when someone's successful, success leaves clues. I think sometimes people are lucky and we can go, oh, they're just lucky. But if someone does something over and over and over again, usually that means like something they're doing is working, right? So we can reverse engineer, what are they doing? What's making it work? And if any of this is feeling like there's no way what this girl is saying is true, then you should take a second and Google me and write Cathy Heller Variety and read the article in Variety, or Cathy Heller LA Weekly, read that article. And then this is a free challenge. So I invite you, we do this once or twice a year. I think that you'll look back and be happy you joined us. So, and if you want to get a little bit more about who I am before you take the plunge on this free challenge, you could listen to my podcast. It's called Don't Keep Your Day Job. That's also free. Or you could check out my Instagram just to get a sense of like who the heck I am. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and we will respond. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and I look forward to seeing you with us. I think you'll learn a lot and you'll be super inspired by the end, and probably have some awesome strategies that make a few light bulbs go off and you say, this was really well worth it. I'll see you guys soon.